Hey there. So you wanted to get a real grasp on Agile KPIs, like
Yeah.
not just the surface level, right?
Right.
We did some serious digging for this deep dive, and it's not just about knowing what KPIs are.
Definitely not.
It's about how they can change how teams work, how they deliver, even how happy they are.
Exactly.
We even found some surprising connections, like between KPIs that can make or break a project.
It's fascinating, right, how these metrics are more than just checking things off.
Yeah.
They really show how well a team's living that agile mindset and reaching those goals.
Okay, but before we go too far, let's get everyone on the same page. For someone new to Agile, what are these Agile methodologies?
Good point. In short, Agile's all about flexibility, working together, and delivering value in pieces.
Okay.
So you break a huge project into smaller bits, manageable bits, and adapt and improve as you go.
Gotcha.
It's the opposite of that old waterfall way, where everything's planned out up front and changes are, well, tough.
Right, like steering a giant ship.
Yes.
So Agile's more like navigating a speedboat down a winding river. You got to be quick and responsive. That's where Agile KPIs come in, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
instruments on your dashboard telling you how fast you're going, fuel levels, are you on course?
Precisely. And just like on a speedboat, different instruments for different purposes.
I see.
That's why we have different types of Agile KPIs, each focusing on a specific thing. We can group them into delivery, quality, process, team, and business KPIs.
Okay, let's break those down. Starting with delivery. Probably what most people think of first, how quickly a team gets things done.
Yeah,
But there's more to it than raw speed, right?
absolutely. It's not just coding speed, it's how smoothly they move through the whole development cycle.
Okay.
Like a relay race, each handoff needs to be seamless. That's where lead time, cycle time, and sprint velocity matter.
Okay, I've heard those before, but I bet some folks are still fuzzy on the details.
Of course.
Can we do a quick refresher on those three?
Lead time's the big picture. How long from a customer requesting something to it being delivered?
Yeah.
It's about the whole workflow, not just isolated tasks. Then, cycle time zooms in on one task. How long to move that task from to do to done helps find bottlenecks within a sprint.
So lead time's like measuring the whole journey, A to B,
Oh.
while cycle time is about understanding the smaller steps within that journey.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And sprint velocity, that one seems pretty straightforward.
It does, but can be tricky. It measures how much work a team can do in a sprint, usually in story points or work units. Good indicator of a team's capacity helps plan future sprints.
But I've heard getting too hung up on sprint velocity can be bad. Like judging a restaurant only on how fast the food comes out.
Great analogy. That's why we need to look beyond delivery KPIs. Speed's important, but only one piece.
Right.
We also need to think about the quality of what's delivered, which takes us to quality KPIs.
This is where it gets really interesting. In Agile, it's not just churning out code fast, but churning out good code.
Yeah.
Code that's clean, robust, actually meets the user's needs. And those quality KPIs come in to save the day. Like fighting bugs and glitches.
Exactly. And you know what's fascinating? We found a link between high employee satisfaction and lower defect density.
Hmm.
Happier developers write better code, less buggy code. Who knew?
That is surprising. Makes you wonder if a positive work environment makes people code more carefully.
Right.
I guess a stressed developer is more likely to make mistakes. Tell us more about these quality KPIs. What metrics are we talking about?
Well, defect density is big. It tells us how many defects or bugs are found per unit of code.
Okay.
Like building a rocket with cracks all over. Might launch, but a disaster waiting to happen.
Makes.
That's why tracking this is critical. Then there's code coverage. It measures how much of your code is actually tested.
Right.
High code coverage doesn't guarantee perfect software, but it lowers the risk of bugs getting out there.
So like a safety net, making sure you're testing everything.
Exactly.
And then, of course, customer satisfaction. Probably the most important metric, right?
Definitely.
Because in the end, it doesn't matter how fast you are, how clean the code is, if your users are unhappy.
Absolutely. We need to build the right things, not just build things right.
Yeah.
Customer satisfaction can be measured through surveys, feedback, even tracking app usage and reviews.
Okay.
If users are complaining or leaving your app, something's wrong.
Right. Like getting a bad Yelp review.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention to those and figure out what's going on.
Exactly.
Okay, we've got speed and quality. What about the process itself? How do we know if our agile workflow is running smoothly?
Yeah.
That's where those process KPIs come in, right?
Exactly. Process KPIs are all about seeing how that work flows, you know?
Okay.
Are things moving smoothly or are there Are there bottlenecks, roadblocks, slowing things down?
Right.
These metrics help us actually visualize that and analyze how efficient our agile processes are.
So it's like looking under the hood of a car, seeing if everything's working together. What are some of the tools we can use for this under the hood inspection?
Well, one powerful tool is the burn down chart. It visually shows the work left in a sprint,
Okay.
so we can track progress and adapt if we need to. Imagine it like a fuel gauge for your sprint. You can see how much you have left
Oh, yeah.
and know if you need to adjust your speed or your route to get to the destination.
So if the burn down line is like flatlining, that's a sign to refuel or change course, like
Yep.
a warning signal.
Exactly. Hey, something's blocking us. Let's figure it out. Then we have the cumulative flow diagram. It gives us a broader view,
Okay.
shows the work flowing through the whole agile system, not just one sprint.
Yeah.
Think of it like a highway map. You see where traffic's smooth, where there are pileups.
I see.
Helps us spot those systemic problems that need attention.
So if we see a ton of tasks stuck in testing, that means we need more testers or a better process.
Exactly. It's about finding those pressure points in our workflow, right? And
Yeah.
making them better. And can't forget about sprint retrospectives, regular meetings at the end of each sprint.
Oh, yeah.
The team reflects on what went well, what didn't, what actions to take to make the next sprint even better.
So sprint retrospectives are like hitting pause on a movie, discussing what we liked, what we didn't,
Yes.
what we'd change for next time. It's about learning and getting better each time.
Precisely. A valuable feedback loop for continuous improvement. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the human side of Agile. The team KPIs. These focus on, on how the team itself is doing.
The people behind the process.
Yeah.
We've covered speed, quality, the process itself, but it's the people who make Agile work.
Right.
And just like measuring those systems, we need to measure how our teams are doing, their well-being. What team KPIs should we be watching?
Team velocity is key. Similar to sprint velocity, it measures the team's total output each sprint.
Yep.
But it's not just how much work. It considers team dynamics, collaboration, communication.
So recognizing that a team is more than individuals. It's about how they work together towards a goal.
Exactly. And then we have employee satisfaction. Pretty straightforward. Are team members happy, engaged? Do they feel valued?
Right.
We measure this through surveys, one-on-one chats, even just observing how they interact.
Happy teams are productive teams, right?
Yeah.
So making sure employees are doing well isn't just the nice thing to do. It's good for business.
Absolutely. And speaking of good business, high employee turnover, that's a bad sign. If people are leaving the team all the time, something's wrong.
Yeah.
It could be lack of growth, bad management, just a toxic environment.
Like a canary in a coal mine, high turnover is a warning.
Exactly.
And it gets expensive to keep hiring and training new people all the time.
Precisely. Now, let's connect this to the big picture, the business itself. This is where business KPIs come in. They help us measure how Agile's affecting the organization as a whole.
Right, because at the end of the day, Agile isn't just about building cool software or hitting deadlines. It's about reaching business goals, whether that's making more money, reaching more customers, making customers happy.
Exactly. So, some crucial business KPIs. Well, return on investment, or ROI. That's always a big one.
Of course.
Are we actually seeing a return on what we're putting into Agile? Are we seeing real benefits like more productivity, better quality, or faster time to market?
ROI is the bottom line.
Right.
Are we making more money or saving more money because of Agile? That's the proof it's working.
Right. Then there's time to market. In today's world, getting those products and features out there fast is crucial.
Yeah.
Agile helps us shorten that time by breaking big projects into smaller pieces, delivered bit by bit.
So instead of spending ages developing a product in secret, we get early versions to users faster, get feedback, and improve quickly. It's about adapting to what the market wants.
Precisely. And lastly, we have the Net Promoter Score, or NPS. This measures how loyal and satisfied customers are with one question.
Okay.
How likely are you to recommend us to a friend?
I've seen that one before.
A high NPS means we're not just delivering, we're creating fans who spread the word and help us grow.
So NPS is about how customers feel about us. Not just satisfaction, but are they loyal? Will they tell others? Word of mouth is powerful.
Exactly. So we've covered a lot, from delivery to quality, process, team, and business KPIs. It's a lot, but the point is, Agile KPIs aren't just about numbers on their own.
Right.
They're about seeing how everything's connected: speed, quality, process, team dynamics, and business goals, all working together for a successful Agile ecosystem.
Like a complex ecosystem, all the different parts interacting. By measuring and analyzing those, we understand how the whole thing works and can make it better.
Exactly. But we're not done yet. Agile KPIs have their challenges.
Uh-oh.
It's important to know those potential pitfalls so we can use these metrics well and ethically.
Right. Agile KPIs aren't perfect. They have their downsides.
Yeah.
It's crucial to know those so we can use them the right way.
Exactly. Agile KPIs, they're a guide, not a rule book. Getting too obsessed with the numbers, well, it can backfire.
Like, you can't see the forest for the trees, right? So focused on hitting each metric that you forget the bigger picture. Delivering value, working together, making sure the team is happy.
Right. One pitfall is picking the wrong KPIs for what you're trying to do. Say you're only looking at sprint velocity.
Yeah.
You might sacrifice quality or even burn out your team.
It's like cramming for a test. Might get the grade, but don't really learn anything. Agile needs balance for real success.
Exactly. Another challenge is measuring things inconsistently. If teams are using different definitions for their KPIs, it's apples and oranges.
Makes sense.
You can't really compare them. It's like trying to measure distance with both miles and kilometers. You get a mess.
So having clear definitions and guidelines for tracking KPIs across the whole organization, that's key.
Absolutely. Then there's those soft skills. How do you measure good communication, creative problem solving, a team's ability to adapt?
Yeah, it's like trying to measure the spark of innovation. You know it's there,
Right.
but it's hard to put it in a spreadsheet.
Exactly. We might not have perfect ways to measure those soft skills, but we can look for signs.
Okay.
Like how often the team works together outside of meetings or how fast they solve disagreements.
So observing how the team works, gathering that kind of information to go with the hard numbers.
Right. But maybe the toughest challenge is becoming too focused on the metrics. What happens when hitting the numbers is all that matters, even if it hurts the team or isn't ethical,
Yeah, not good.
then we've gone too far. KPIs should help us get better results, not be used to punish people or, manipulate them.
Right.
It's like using a map on a trip. You have to be flexible, adapt to detours, roadblocks. Just blindly following the map, even when it's wrong, that defeats the purpose.
So it's about using our judgment, our gut feeling, our values to understand the data and make choices that align with our goals and our principles.
Precisely. Behind the numbers, there are real people with real needs.
Well said.
Yeah.
So how do we navigate these challenges and use Agile KPIs well? Any tips for our listeners?
Absolutely. It starts with setting goals that are clear and meaningful. Before even thinking about KPIs, ask, what are we trying to achieve?
Makes sense.
Once you know that, picking the right metrics is easier. It's like knowing where you're going before you start a trip. Otherwise, you're just wandering around.
Right.
And don't be afraid to try things out. Agile's all about improving, so try different KPIs, see what works, adjust as you go. What works for one team may not work for another.
So like trying different recipes till you find one you like.
Exactly.
Are there any companies or teams that are really nailing Agile KPIs? Real-world examples.
Well, Spotify comes to mind, known for their autonomous teams, their data-driven culture. They really focus on team health and happiness, measure it through surveys, feedback.
Spotify, the music app, I use that all the time. What kind of impact has that had?
Well, their focus on those team KPIs has been successful. Spotify is consistently ranked as a great place to work, and they say it's because of their engaged and empowered employees.
It shows that happy, motivated teams are so important for Agile to work. Any other examples?
Tesla's another one. They're all about speed and innovation, using Agile KPIs to track everything. Production, vehicle quality, customer feedback. They're constantly trying new things, using the data to make fast decisions, stay ahead of the curve.
Tesla's interesting because they apply Agile not just to software, but to the whole car-making process.
Right. Their big metric is time to market, getting those new features and models out there fast, but still keeping high quality.
So what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What can they learn from these companies?
I think the biggest thing is Agile KPIs aren't just for tech. They can work in any industry, any team, any project where speed, flexibility, and putting the customer first are important.
So whether it's software, cars, a new marketing campaign, Agile KPIs can help you reach your goals faster, better, and with more fun along the way.
But remember, it's not about chasing numbers blindly. It's about using that data to make good decisions, empower your teams, and create a culture of always getting better.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with this. Think about one KPI, just one, that could really make a positive difference in your work.
Start small, see what happens, and see how you can use data to make real change.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Agile KPIs. We hope it was insightful, inspiring, and maybe even changed your perspective a bit. Now go out there and conquer those KPIs.